What up, fam? This is Steven Talbert. This is Talby Rex. So today, this is my first video back from the new year. And so one of my New Year's resolution is to be beardless now. Now you see, you get beardless Talby, as you can see. I just had an interview, and so that's the reason I'm beardless. And so I want to talk about kind of the biggest, latest news that I've been hearing about today that really broke today. As you may know or may not know, this week has been CES week, which is the major conference where you show off electronics and certain things. And a lot of people have really interesting press conferences. My dad was talking about CES actually earlier. He was like watching a Twitch stream, and it was just following this guy looking at these different products, and it was like really interesting type of products. But the biggest thing recently for gaming has been VR. That's mainly where VR gets shown right now, has been through CES. That's where Oculus Rift, I believe, came out originally, stuff like that. And so it's always a great time to just have a big impact, start the year off right. And so one of the things that happened this week was the fact that Oculus Rift came out. And basically started taking pre-orders for their new machine, their VR machine, and the pricing is for so far. It started at 8 a.m. today, and the pricing is about $600, $599, and it will also come out March 28th. And so I pretty much want to tell you kind of why it matters, what do I think about the price, and kind of go from there. It was real interesting just kind of watching kind of the reactions of this, kind of about the pricing when it came out. I follow a lot of different people. I saw a couple of people who showed their pre-orders that they did in fact buy the Oculus Rift. I think I had probably 4 or 5 different people that I follow, kind of showed that. And in the majority of the people were kind of like, they kind of very much understand the pricing. But we're like, we're not going to buy it yet. They're not going to commit. They're not going to do it. They want to get into VR, but it's just the price is way too much. And that is an interesting thing. That's definitely one of the negative connotations of $600. It's way too much. Like you think about it, like I remember when the PlayStation 3. Now, one of the major things that really did hurt people was that it costed $1 jillion. It costed the same exact price, $600. Although for a nice piece of hardware, you're going to pay a good amount of money. And so there's very much interesting arguments kind of taking place and taking root. And what right now it allows for these there's two other organizations that are, I would say, on the hardcore level of VR. So you have about 3 different companies. You have pretty much the Oculus Rift people, who are done by Facebook, and then you have the HTC Vive people, who are probably a major threat in terms of the PC gaming VR experience. And then there's PlayStation, who have their PlayStation VR, which is probably where I'll probably be in terms of doing VR. I really want to be a part of this because I think it is the future of gaming, or it's going to be a very interesting and dramatic type of shift in gaming, and we're gonna have to see. And so these 2 different companies haven't showed up. It'll be interesting to see if PlayStation is going to be either cheaper than them, or kind of what is the actual pricing for PlayStation VR. And if they are really cheaper, there's been rumors I've heard of $300 to $400. What makes Oculus Rift really interesting is the fact that it runs off of a computer, and so which a lot of people say kind of is the cool thing about Oculus is it's pretty almost an endless type of thing. Their system could always get better and better and better, versus PlayStation VR is stuck on the PlayStation, and so it's interesting. And so what I really want to come together is like, is the Oculus Rift at $600, is it worth it right now? Do you want to, would you want to get in and buy it, at the ground floor? Do you want to straight up pre-order this machine? I think the idea of Oculus is appealing. The cool thing that they've already talked about is the fact that it will come with two different games, Lucky Story and Valkyria, Eve Valkyrie, which is going to be one of the major games for VR. I think Eve Valkyrie is easily one of the best VR games right now on the market. And Lucky Story is pretty respected for the most part. So you get really two top quality type of games. I think you also get an Xbox One controller. So there is some value. So you're really probably more likely paying for like $500, maybe $450-ish, and then you're adding 3 extra accessories. Take that. You might want to take that into respect. And so, will this be enough? My fears for Oculus is just the amount of gaming, like the amount of games that we're going to see by Oculus. Do they have big deals? One thing about PlayStation is they already have a base that there's going to be several games made through PlayStation. They have good deals with different companies like Ubisoft and a lot of different third party type of people that they can easily get to develop for them. And so I think one interesting thing about Oculus though is the fact that it does have Microsoft in its corner. Microsoft has they haven't really said they're going to develop anything just yet. But they are definitely, you can definitely see them. They are kind of really helping in the development of Oculus. They're very much interested in kind of the process, and I think give them a year or two, maybe 3 years down the road, I think Microsoft could get into the whole fray and stuff, and that could be very interesting when that does happen. Especially if PlayStation VR is that experience that you want to get behind. If it is, you'll see Microsoft. But kind of beyond the point, is Oculus Rift worth it? I would say yes, because there is going to be a lot of support. I think that's what's been really interesting to see is just that watching kind of they did a press conference right before E3. They were talking about like there's at least 15, 20 games already for the Oculus Rift. They've been developing on that for the longest amount of time. So there's been a lot of development for that game. Although one of the most interesting questions will be just really simple games. It will be interesting to see if they have real complex games right off the bat. Because that's one thing I really do think needs to win people over is the gameplay. Like they'll need some hits. But we'll see. It is wait to be seen. I think really, if you really want to explore that, if you really want to explore that, definitely go get the Oculus. But be warned, like this Oculus Rift is for no amateurs. Like I cannot run the Oculus Rift on my amateur computer. I will need a pretty good specs. Probably medium to high level specs in terms of my computing power and stuff like that. And so, like, you are going to have to spend money for your computer. You're going to have to make sure that is good. And so that is one interesting consideration. Oculus Rift is for the hardcore. And when thinking about it, like in the future, it will be interesting to see if it's going to be dominated by the hardcore, or if how long will it eventually become a casual type thing, which is what I would love to see it actually becoming. And so overall, right now, what we know is it's $600. It comes out March 28th. You can read the specs online. I think it's worthwhile in terms of buying and considering. One of the coolest things right now about Oculus Rift is you can pre-order it right now and you don't have to pay. You do have to pay when it comes out, but you can be the first to be kind of in line for your Oculus. And so if you want to do that, definitely go ahead and check that out. I just kind of wanted to kind of report that about this really interesting price. I think honestly it's a good thing because I think you would want your Oculus to be a bigger, like it's not, I think you want your Oculus to be very high powered in the beginning because you just don't want very simple type stuff. Like you want the abilities to be beyond it. And so which means it doesn't keep the Oculus back pretty much. unlike the kind of the Samsung VR, which is done through your phone, and so it really has the limitations of that. So there you go, guys. I just kind of wanted to talk about this interesting news story. What do you guys think about VR? Do you like VR? Are you going to pre-order Oculus? I would love to hear about that. Kind of, what are you thinking about VR right now? Are you going to go into look into the the Vive, or are you going to get into PlayStation VR? Thank you for watching this video and taking your time to watch it. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you guys have fun in 2016 with me. I want to hopefully do more and more, and thank you for what you guys do. Bye.